catch him. And you're listening to Silph Radio.
This is Silph Radio, a Pokemon-centered podcast. This is a podcast where hardcore fans bring their knowledge of the Pokemon world to the table to see what truths remain forgotten and undiscovered. This is not intended as a strategy guide, so if you're looking for like a walkthrough or an in-depth gaming review, there's plenty of those on YouTube. This is a place for fun, creative, intelligent discussion that's way too hung up on things we should have left behind when we were like 12 or 13. This is not a podcast for anyone under the age of 12 or 13 unless you're especially smart. Lots of bad words, lots of innuendo, lots of philosophical detours. I am your lovely host, Nathan K., and joining me today is my longtime co-host and good friend, Phil Cobb. How's it going, man?
It's going all right. Great to be back on the Silph Radio show.
Thank you. It's great to have you back. I got a question for you. Today we're going to be talking about Johto's Steel-type gym leader, Jasmine. Are there any other gym leaders that are Steel-type? That's not the question, but...
Not in Johto.
There are other Steel-type gym leaders, though. I know there are. I'm just trying to remember who they are.
I can't think of any right now, because I didn't care for the Steel-type.
Don't like knock me points for not remembering everything about Pokemon, by the way. Like, I'm like 33. I forget shit. I have a real job. My question was Meltan. With the power to
Milkman.
What do you think of this new mythical Pokemon for Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, Meltan?
I actually have not kept up on that, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Wait, really?
For real?
Like you don't even know?
I don't. You said Meltan, and I'm like, sounds familiar, but I haven't put a picture with a name yet.
Wow, you of all people.
Yeah.
Well, I know how much you love Steel types, and I know how much you love Ditto.
I only love one, and I do love me some Ditto.
Oh, it's just Skarmory?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just Skarmory.
Well, you love Skarmory enough to make that like the type I most associate with you. What's your favorite type, if you had to pick one?
Nah, Psychic. I've always had a pretty good affinity for Psychic, but a very close second is Fighting.
Yeah, you know what? I definitely would think of Psychic with you, too. And then Fighting, yeah, I know you love the Dojo. Okay. So if you could have like a 3-type Pokemon, one Pokemon with 3 types, a Psychic Steel Fighting would probably be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's where I was going. It was either Psychic Fighting Steel or Psychic Fighting Flying, but we'll see. We'll see what generation... Hold on, let's see. Last time I called one of these, I was right. Let's go Generation 10.
Well, over the last few weeks... We'll see by the time I get this episode out. There's been something weird going on in Pokemon Go where people would catch a Ditto, but then as soon as they caught it, people would run into this other new Pokemon.
And it would be a Ditto.
Which looked like a Ditto. It's like imagine a Ditto, but it's...
Is that the Silver Ditto holding something?
It's got a... like a nut for a head. Like a nut as in a nut and screw, like a bolt.
That dumbass thing.
With a little eye. It does look kind of dumb. Supposedly it has another form.
I don't fucking care. Ditto, OG, real gangsta.
Well,
end of episode.
People would catch this newly discovered weird
and it would be
Pokemon,
a Ditto.
And then it would just be a Ditto. And they'd be like, what the fuck? So a lot of people thought
they were doing the same thing back when Mew came out. You'd see a Mew. Oh, I'm going to catch Mew. That's a Ditto.
That never happened. Oh, you mean in Pokemon Go?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I'm like, That never happened, Phil.
Is it happening in the actual like games right now? Like the actual games?
No. Meltan's going to be in Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. It's gonna
Speaking
be
of which, I pre-ordered mine.
Pokemon. Cool.
You need to pre-order yours.
A lot of people were assuming this was some type of glitch because it looks almost like a placeholder sprite. I know it's not a sprite, but for lack of a better term, that they would have in the game, like programming in the code for and then some glitch happened, some bug happened, and now people are actually seeing them. But a week or two later, Professor, what's the professor in Pokemon Go's name?
Whatever.
1-star review. This dude don't know shit.
Unsub.
Professor Treebeard from Pokemon Go.
I would work for Professor Treebeard.
I don't know, the young hot professor.
Sycamore or whatever his name is.
And Professor Oak are having a council about this newly discovered mythical, as in like Mew, Victini, Jirachi, Celebi, mythical Pokemon. And it's Meltan. And I don't know, supposedly from what I'm hearing is if you get a bunch of them together, they can converge to a new form, which that makes sense for it to be the mythical Pokemon that they're introducing in the game that is centered around Pokemon Go. Because Pokemon Go is the one game that encourages you to catch multiples of the same Pokemon.
Or more than multiples, hundreds.
Yeah.
Then you shred them into dust.
You could say the game indirectly encourages people like you to like breed for a million Eevees.
Yes.
But that's not directly encouraged by the game. Like, Pokemon Go directly encourages you to catch a ton of the same Pokemon.
Well, I mean, it feeds into their mechanics of you got to burn the Pokeball so you have a reason to go out and visit the stops again. It's just part of the play cycle. But yes, from a design perspective, you are encouraged to catch many of the same types or same families.
So it makes sense that they'd marry form and function with Meltan,
Sure. I mean, I'm curious to see what it comes through, but as of right now, if it's just a Ditto with a nut on his head, well, I can get a plushie and a walnut and call it a day.
Yeah. The design is a little uninspired, I must say.
I'm just saying right now, throwing a prediction right now, if that nut is supposed to be part of a magneton and they get this big magnet in the middle and it becomes, just a bunch of Dittos on the outside of a magneton, I'm going to get pissed.
No, I think they showed a silhouette of it.
And he's holding two nuts.
I think it's like a big. I don't even know what's real and what's not anymore nowadays. Like, welcome to Trump's Kanto, people.
I'll spin it out for you for what it is. No leaks, nothing like that. It's just a Garbodor from a metal recycling facility. That's all it is. Everything they couldn't recycle is
Phil,
just a Garbodor.
I don't disagree, but he is our president. Let's. All right. Moving forward.
So there was the political commentary. If that's all you came for, thanks for coming. See you next time.
1-star review.
Unsub.
Who's your favorite gym leader? Is this your favorite gym leader?
No, my favorite gym leader actually doesn't fall into... My favorite gym leader hasn't come out yet. If that makes sense. I mean, you look at, who's your favorite XYZ? It's like, all right, these are all my available choices. My favorite gym leader, I haven't had anyone that really resonates with me as well as I would like. Now you have Sabrina being OG, towing the line between psychic and psychotic. And then you have, and that's partly due to the manga, or not manga, but the anime. So excuse me on that one. But I liked her from a character perspective. On the other side of it, I have Chuck from
this game,
Gold Silver. Yeah, I think he's actually the next city up, but I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah.
I think he is.
Yep, you visit him right after you visit Olivine City, yeah.
Yep. All right, so those would be probably my two. Just I haven't really found anything interesting with the others. If you want to tap into the Elite Four, then yes, Will was eccentric enough to say, okay, this is what a further character could develop into. I also do like Bruno, although he's a little more strict than I would like. There's a lot in there.
I read a fan theory while I was doing research that somebody was saying they think Bruno is Jasmine's father. And I don't think they had quite enough...
anything to substantiate that?
Yeah, quite enough evidence to actually make that claim. But it interestingly works very well with the Jasmine theory that I was formulating, as I was researching, and then I found that, and I was like, oh, this would be great. If they have good evidence, this will tie my theory together. And then I was like, oh, they don't really have good evidence, so it doesn't. But
So it's one of those SpongeBob papers where they have a really ornate title and first word, but nothing to back it up.
Sure.
All right, so what is it? Is that it? Bruno's her dad?
I mean, we can't really, we can't make that case without knowing anything about the woman herself.
Well, what's that theory?
Okay, your math teacher doesn't teach you the Pythagorean theorem before they teach you simple addition. We gotta get there, man.
That's a different teacher altogether, but okay.
You don't review a movie before you've watched it. Feels like, have you been on the internet lately?
I mean, consider the source.
Today we are covering the steel-clad defense girl. That's her title, of Olivine City, the gym leader who specializes in steel type and gives out the mineral badge. She's known as Mikan, which means Mandarin orange in Japanese.
Okay.
But in the American and European releases, I believe, she's known as Jasmine, which is a sweet-smelling flower.
Also a woman's name. I know a very nice lady by the name of Jasmine.
1-star review.
Unsub.
Jasmine is an interesting character. She has one of the biggest roles of any gym leader, I think, in that game, right? Because there's actually something you have to do in continuity, like in the plotting of the game. She's not just stop and visit her gym, beat her, and then leave.
I can't recall if she's the only one. I feel like there are more, and the first one that comes to mind is Cerulean City and Nugget Bridge. But that's more of a Team Rocket plot device than it would be a direct request by the gym leader. But for those who...
you just go to Misty's gym, you fight her, and then you never see her again.
But they won't let you in until you do Nugget Bridge.
That's right. But yeah, that's not what I mean, though. I mean where the gym leader themselves...
Makes a direct request?
Well, it actually plays a role in the plot of the game. Giovanni in the first game.
I wouldn't say she plays as much of a role as you're hyping it up to be, not like Giovanni levels of importance.
Yeah, Giovanni is much more important, but I'm saying almost every single gym leader just sits in their gym and then you go fight them and then that's it. I know now in the new games there's more, but I'm saying in the first few generations especially, the gym leaders didn't do anything, but you would just visit them at their gym, beat them, and then leave.
Which is fine, but with a name like the Steel-Clad Iron Girl, I totally expected her to pull some kind of Iron Man type stuff. And then she's just this little mini sundress wearing skinny little thing, and I'm like, she's what, 13?
Very interesting. 15? Well, she seems very young. She's very shy and meek. She stutters a lot, and she says a lot.
As if she's not sure of her, anything.
Oh, it'd be so frustrating to record a podcast with her. She seems very unsure, like not very confident. I'd say she needs to steel her nerves.
Unsub. 1 star.
0-star rating. I'm hate listening now.
I'm only here to bash you.
Yeah, it is weird. And if you investigate her like in-game dialogue, what game is it? I think it's like Black 2 and White 2, where she shows up in a tournament where you can like
where they do all the big tournaments or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you fight her in the tournament, after you beat her, she says something. She like considers stepping down as the gym leader, which is it's in line with like she's not sure of herself. Is clearly like what we're being.
I suppose I could lend credence to that, yeah.
And I don't know. I wonder if there's more to the way that connects to her elemental alignment and in-game role than we may be considering.
According to what a lot of the game has put forward, I believe her Steelix, yes, she has a Steelix. Spoiler alert, you've only had 20-some years.
That's her flagship Pokemon.
Right, but it's said that she had an Onix before that. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, so she's either the pioneer of it or someone... close to her has shown her, or she just kind of did it by accident. But running a couple Magnemites, I think she found a theme. She ran with it. But it generally comes down to she's a very unsure person, which Steel might be something to kind of help her grow as an individual. The reason
defenses.
Yeah. I don't know if she has any issues as far as that goes.
Well, I mean, if you're very shy and not confident and you don't have good self-esteem, you're likely to put up a lot of defenses to many different types.
Yeah,
you know?
I guess. And steel is kind of good for that when you're backed properly.
Kind of good for that. That's steel's like main strategic advantage.
Yeah, but most of them have garbage special defense. So,
okay.
Yeah, also fighting breaks through it, so just saying.
Well, that was the main reason they introduced steel and dark, was to make fighting stronger and psychic weaker, right?
I couldn't say from a developer's perspective. I was not there. Although, it would stand to reason.
Yeah. She seems to have an affinity for electric type Pokemon too. In the card game, almost all her Pokemon are electric type. She has a Raichu, she has a Jolteon, Pokemon that have no association with steel, whereas Magnemite are steel electric.
Everything that steel conducts, maybe she's making a shift or spreading it herself out. I couldn't say. I know in the Black 2 White 2, as you mentioned, she does, or actually I think it's in Pokemon Stadium, Stadium 2, that she actually branches out to have a lot of water, which one would assume is to shore up her weakness to ground and fire. But I can't say for sure.
Sure. It also connects back to her home, Olivine City, the port with sea breezes, which differentiates it from other ports, apparently.
I guess. Wind blows the other direction every other place.
It's the Vermilion City of Johto, if you will. It's the port city. You can take the SS Aqua over to Kanto. Supposedly the SS Aqua goes to like all sorts of regions, I guess, at least Sinnoh.
Yeah.
Because Johto and Sinnoh have a very entangled like culture and history. They probably like engaged in trade, you know, like throughout history.
I couldn't say. What I can say is to Jasmine being unique in the Gold and Silver series, what it boils down to is that she's you go to the gym and she's like, no. Okay, why not?
Well, she's not at the gym.
You don't find her at the... Oh, no, something saying that she's out or something
you
like
arrive
that.
in Olivine City, you go to the gym, and your rival, Silver, the little dick, comes out, and he's like, yeah, she's not here, so I don't know, maybe you should go to the lighthouse and try to train, and maybe you won't be such a wimp. And you go to the lighthouse.
Sounds like Silver.
It's called the Glitter Lighthouse, and this is like one of Olivine City's claim
attractions.
Yeah, it's their claim to fame and their main attraction, their major landmark that lights up the sea at night for ships coming into shore. And the Ampharos, named Amphy, that runs the place, is sick and not
shining.
Yeah, not
glittering.
shining the light. And apparently they just don't have any backup reserve electric Pokemon.
Nope, that's it. Ship's crash. End of game.
Where's that Jolteon?
I mean, getting this far without going any farther, consider it from a perspective of let's again translate this over to real life. You're walking into a town. At some point in time, you had to have seen this lighthouse. If it's as tall as they say it is, you had to have seen it coming up to the city. You wander into town, someone you've known for a little while is like, nah, she's not here, but there's trainers up in that lighthouse, which he points out, and you can now see, if you have not seen it before, that it is not lit. Okay, let's stop and think for a second. There's no light in a lighthouse. Just let that sink in for a second. There's no light in a lighthouse. Ships are going to crash. There is a serious problem. Now enter what makes Jasmine so interesting. I'll spoil it for you. You go to the lighthouse, fight some trainers. She's at the top and says, I can't battle right now. This thing is sick. I need to take care of it. Can you run across the sea? Blah, blah, blah. Take care of it. Long story short, you go over there, you get the medicine, you bring it back, he gets better, and she's like, all right, I'll fish at the gym.
I just went and got this medicine for this Ampharos, and the light is just out. While you got all these electric... How exactly have you been taking care of Amphy? What are you sitting here rubbing his fucking shoulders while I journey across the sea to Cianwood City? Like,
well, not only that, you're journeying across the sea and there's no lighthouse to get back. What am I supposed to do? Just keep a Charizard above me at all times so I can see some light? What's going on?
You're riding on the back of an experienced water Pokemon that's in its element.
Well, yeah, I guess there's that, but it's doesn't mean that it's not going to listen to you.
You can do it during the daytime, too.
Well, right. No, that's the operating thing that I'm running off of, but let's consider all those people that are out there on that route all carry water Pokemon. Except for the occasional, what's that, Chimchar Lantern, whatever it is, glowing fish thing. So that's about the only light that's out there. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, she asked you to travel to Cyanwood City, which is it's a separate landmass, but still considered a territory of Johto.
It's just due south, yeah.
Yeah, and you go there because they have this pharmacy that's been there for like 500 years.
Herbal remedies, people. They're not going anywhere.
You get the medicine. You can challenge Chuck while you're there, the fighting type gym leader. And then when you get back, you bring it to her at the lighthouse, and she's like, all right, cool, we can go have that gym battle now.
There's also an interesting cave where you can pick up some little underexperienced fighting types, but they probably wouldn't be terrible if you were relying on psychic like you were for most of your playthroughs, like I do.
But that's cool for them to give you fighting types right before you fight the Steel Gym. That's great intuitive game design because, A, they're giving you something that is going to be strong against this other type, which, you probably already have a fire type at this point, but still, it's the 6th gym leader you face. They're also establishing this is a new type and it's weak to fighting. So you might not know that already, and now here's an opportunity to learn that.
Right. I guess you would have a fire since you went through the burnt tower already, so...
Well, that's optional, so maybe you didn't.
Maybe not, but if you skip the opportunity to get a Magmar, well, it's not my problem, that's yours.
So, Sparkle Lighthouse, I like that you were talking about...
Glitter Lighthouse.
What's that?
Glitter Lighthouse.
Glitter Lighthouse. Sparkle was Amphy's name in the anime. That's why I was confusing.
I don't pay attention to the anime. I'm not regretting that decision
now.
Yeah,
it's hard to. I say this a lot, but every time I'm doing research for an episode that requires watching the anime, like, holy shit, it is literally the most annoying show that's ever aired on television. Amanda show notwithstanding.
I don't know. Like, if we're going to have a tournament bracket, I'll put those two together and let 5 people hash it out. Figure out which one's actually worse.
It's just hearing Cyndaquil beat the shit out of Jasmine Steelix was just ear-rending. It was a nightmare. I'm literally like, I had to turn the episode down and watch it like at low volume. I was just so sick of hearing it.
Why? What happened? Like,
why did the Pokemon need to shout their own names in such
obscene fashion?
In such obscene tones?
Because it's for kids, question mark? I'm not saying that it's a good idea. I'm just saying that's why they did it.
Because that's what the toys do in Toy Story, yeah.
Well, Toy Story wasn't made for kids.
Buzz Lightyear! Okay, I guess they I don't know, but
I'm Woody. Howdy.
Talking about the lighthouse, I find it interesting that this is something that pops up in the game all the time, and it's clearly to make the game more dynamic and interesting and fun. But this propensity for Pokemon trainers to gather at landmarks such as that and use them as sort of a training ground where they can just go and challenge each other to battles. I don't know. I don't know if I have any point I'm trying to make.
I don't know how much challenging goes on when everybody stands in a static location and only looks one direction, but I see what you're saying.
I don't think that's what's happening, though.
You go to...
I think that's a limitation of the Game Boy's hardware capabilities.
But you go to the lighthouse and look at any of the ones on the 3DS. They don't move around much in there. I mean, a couple of them patrol, but that's about it.
Again, though, a limitation of the hardware capabilities.
Nah, they could do a lot more with it.
And a stylistic
choice by the designer. Okay, that I have a trouble shooting down.
It's a game,
but it is an interesting notion, supposedly to give breadth and depth to the world. Maybe you want to call it world building. Maybe you want to call it atmosphere. But yes, these are locations where you're not just going to wander in with your thumb up your butt thinking, oh, I'm going to go to the top of his lighthouse and see what's up there. Every trainer's like, bitch, you owe me some money.
Well, yeah, from the distant perspective of a gamer playing a game, it's easy to just be like, well, yeah, of course, this is a dungeon that I'm going through. In game speak, it's a dungeon.
Right.
Of course, there's going to be antagonists that I have to battle and gain experience throughout this dungeon. But so it's easy to get lost in that and not consider the immersive world of it, and that you're like, okay, so this is a landmark, and because it's this big lighthouse that has a lot of empty space inside it, and there's wild Pokemon living there or whatever. There aren't, are there? No, there aren't. There aren't wild Pokemon in the lighthouse, but there's a lot of trainers. And it just makes sense that like trainers go there. I don't know. It's.
Well, I mean, consider it from a real world perspective. Again, stripping it back down to the real world and removing the limitations of the hardware. A lot of trainers go to a lighthouse. What are they going to do? All hang around on the same floor. So
No, they're not.
as soon as you walk in, 50 pairs of eyes are looking at you like, we're all going to battle.
They're on multiple floors. Oh, but that's probably a thing too, is like, no, you're not allowed to go to that lighthouse at night. You don't know what kind of trainers are camping out in there. Is probably like a thing. You know what I mean? If you're a very young Pokemon trainer who's not on a journey, but just training your fucking Bidoof in Olivine City, your mom may be like, yeah, no, like, okay, you can go up there with your older brother during the daytime. You're not going to hang out at the lighthouse at night. We don't know what type of like migrant Pokemon trainers are hiding out there.
You just see, what's his name? What's that guy from XY? That guy's just that 6 foot tall, 11 foot tall giant dude just like wanders into Olivine City Lighthouse, thrashes everybody and walks out. It's like, no, you can't go there. Do you know what happened there a week ago?
Fucking Cross and Damien are hanging out there. You show up and he's like, oh, look who's over here.
I'm not familiar with them. Who are they?
Damien, the Charmander's owner, and Cross, the Charmander's owner in the alternate universe where Pikachu talks.
Are you talking the anime again?
Yeah, remember Damien?
I'm gonna go.
Oh, you shouldn't care about Pokemon. That's gay.
It sounds like some sentiment that I hear in the anime, yeah.
You liberal snowflake cock.
I don't know if I hear quite that, but the same sentiment applies. So, yeah, I mean, that is very much a possibility. You have douchebags who are in it to win it and don't care. So, yeah, it probably wouldn't be the best place to go at night, although I always played at night, so I always went there at night because I'm a badass.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're playing a Pokemon trainer that's journeying with a team of powerful-ass, well-trained Pokemon, and, yeah. I don't know. I
don't know if my first couple playthroughs could be called powerful and or well-trained.
They are comparatively. Like, immerse yourself in the world. You are playing a prodigal trainer. Like, that's why the other people on the routes aren't weak. They're just normal people. Well, so they're weak.
They're weak.
They're liberal snowflakes. Let's face them.
I'm just thinking about bug catchers in the Viridian Forest.
Like, okay, if you saw a dude with a bunch of with a bee farm, like, he would have bees, wheels and bees. He's very established in his life.
But would he have 50?
An aviary,
you get where I was going
someone
with
who has
that,
an
right?
aviary. Like, yeah. No, but okay, 50, yes. Bees, sure. But bee drills are different. They are.
You're not getting where I was going.
I am getting where you're going. You don't have 50 bee drills if you take care of bee drills because it's very different.
Okay, I was making an alliteration of the fact that I was going to trounce through Viridian Forest with like 50 Weedles.
I know, and I'm saying that's different. It's different. Weedles are harder to take care of than actual worms, Phil.
Okay. I don't see how, but okay.
They require more of your time, attention, effort, and care.
Do they, though?
And discipline.
Do they?
Yeah.
Then how does Oak handle everybody's?
Oak doesn't handle anybody's Pokemon.
When Ash caught all them Tauros, he penned
so you're
them
talking about the anime now.
Well, you're pulling from the anime. I might as well cherry pick.
Specific. All right. Forgot what it's like to record a podcast with you, Phil.
This is why I don't get to come over very often. Anyway, though, back to Jasmine, because, there is a topic today.
And Olivine City, I think that's where she lives. I'm assuming where she's from. She holds down the Olivine City gym there,
right.
The steel gym. And she eats her lunch in the cafe between 1 and 2 every day. You can find her there. Try to get her number. And I'm not being that guy. I'm saying that's how you do dojo battles.
No, I'm being that guy.
In Kanto on Wednesdays. So what's your favorite type?
Rock.
She loves her town. She seems to really care about her city. You do see her in Gen 4 in Sinnoh at Sunny Shore City, or Sunny Shore City, I guess. Gen 4 and Gen 2 take place at like approximately the same time.
Right.
So you can see her there, and she's like, oh, I like coming here because it reminds me of my home, because it's another port town.
What kind of gym leader are you that you're just going to abandon your gym?
They have a large lighthouse. I don't think she's abandoning her gym.
Well, she's not there to take on challengers. That's her job.
Okay,
isn't it?
I'm not at work right now. I'm not abandoning my.
Well, if that's the case, what are the work hours of a gym leader? Day or night, you go there, they're there, presumably.
But it's a game, though. I don't think it works like that.
I follow that, and she's not an active participant. Like, you're not after her badge, so you can't rag on her for it. But one of the things that Jasmine introduces in a larger sense is that gym leaders are or become, after her, more socially responsible. It's almost as though they were put in that position because of the people that they are. And some of you are sitting there thinking, oh, duh. And it's like, no, just look at every other gym leader before that. Think about it. Like, I'm going through Brock, Misty,
and the obvious reason is because the writers stepped up their game in plotting out the game.
Well, that's the real reason. But what's the canon?
Yeah, I get it. That's not what we're not at Silph Radio to just defect to the obvious writing.
Well, it's in the script.
Reason.
Have a nice day.
Yeah,
1 star.
So that is interesting, actually. That really works with a growing theory that I've been developing about how when Red made his journey, I was trying to think of a qualifier to use, this prodigal iconic journey that he did, right? That is probably spoken of in stories. It is. He became the champion of the Pokemon League. The next time we see the Elite Four, the roster has changed. Right. And to our knowledge, it hasn't since, which makes me think that Red changed the administration.
I don't know if he has that ability, but what basically happened is Red came through here and they were like, "You're a kid, you suck." He was like, "No, motherfucker, you suck." You're fired.
I don't know either, but Giovanni is gone. Who replaced him? Red's best friend.
You really, I know where you're going with this. Are you sure you want to go down that road?
Lorelei and Agatha are gone. Who replaced them? You got Koga, who I really think trained Red, like in his journey, like once he reached Koga, because they even exploited this in the anime that you can go to fight Koga and then come back to fight Sabrina. Like, you don't have to fight them. You can switch the order between which you fight them. And it would take too long to get too into it, but it just makes so much sense from a storytelling perspective that Red went to fight Sabrina, could not defeat Sabrina, went and fought Koga. What do you do at a gym? You learn how to battle against and with Pokemon of a specific type. Learned about poison and bug type Pokemon, went back, and he learned about discipline of the mind, went back and defeated the psychic type after he trained under a bug type trainer who knew how to discipline and calm his mind.
I mean, that's cool and all, but in the anime, he just got a Haunter and brought it over and had a good old fun time with it.
Yeah, but
Haunter, real OG, shut up. You don't matter.
But the idea that he was replaced with someone who is the most traditionally disciplined of anyone.
Well, you could also see it as a sausage fest. He chucks the chicks and puts 2 guys in there.
All right, Lydia, you're right. Red is totally... I don't know. I have this idea, though, that Red, through his actions of training 6 wildly different types of Pokemon to be extremely powerful, becoming the champion, cataloging all 150 native species
if he stopped
of Kanto.
At 6,
hold on.
And if you're assuming he did all of that stuff...
he did all that. He cataloged like the entire Pokedex.
This is canon. He got all 150.
Well, the Pokedex is filled out, and it was Red's task. I don't know whether or not he captured every single Pokemon, but he did fill out the Pokedex. Whatever, however he did that in universe, or maybe it was him and Blue. Regardless, that technology has been revolutionized with him testing out the prototype of the Master Ball, which I've discussed before. How wildly irresponsible it would be to sell the Master Ball commercially. And I think Red, through his journey, recognized the good and bad aspects of power and science.
Well, I was going to say the good and bad aspects of the league organization as it stood at the time. There were basically a lot of favorites for this town. Here you go. I run a gym because I could afford it or because people naturally gather here. You got Brock and whatever. But you fast forward to Erica. She's got a garden in the middle of a commercial city. A lot of people gathered there, and she probably just was contacted by the league. Hey, a lot of people hang out here. You guys battle each other a lot. You're fairly strong. Let's make you a gym leader. Like, we don't know what the actual selection process is. To say that Red came in there, tore us under its illusions, and sent the sanctuary of their own ignorance crashing down around them is not an unfair statement to say that, okay, here are some changes that happened. Yes, it's the same 8 with one exception, and we'll get to that. But it does open up the possibility that, yeah, these people could have been chosen by the administration as it had been overturned. Sure, it's entirely possible Red did that. I hadn't considered that notion until now. It's an interesting possibility.
I mean, it might not just be like, oh, the league champion decides who the gym leaders are, but it might be that Red was a huge deal and a huge culture hero. He became the champion, the first person to become the champion after Lance in years and years and years. And he was like, look, I've learned a lot through my journey, more than anyone. This is like a dramatic turning point for world history. And I want to make some changes. Like, Giovanni's gone, and you know why he left? I'll tell you why he left. He was the fucking leader of Team Rocket, and I whooped his ass. And every one of his fucking trainers underneath him. And I'd like Blue to be the gym leader there now. And I want Koga on the Elite Four because we need some discipline in here because things are about to... the world is being revolutionized, and if we don't approach it with a modicum of, like, discipline and responsibility, it's going to open up the door for very, very inhumane and just like, I can't think of the right words, but like atrocities of society. Like, and what, fast forward to Pokemon trainers just catching them all, loading up their PCs, putting 4 copies of the fucking Totodile in their deck, like catching on Pokemon Go 1,800 Dittos, fucking, yeah. And what you're saying, though, to tie it back to like the reason I got into this was you were saying after Jasmine, the gym leaders show more of a social role. And I think that works well with my theory of like, look how much the world has progressed technologically and socially since Red's journey. You didn't even know shit in Red's journey. Mewtwo is cataloged before Mew because there was no official cataloging of Pokemon, and that's who Red encountered first.
Mew is a myth too, to be fair. But no, let's assume, and I'm absolutely positive the conversation didn't go like, I beat his ass because he's a bitch. He's like, okay, look, I wandered these lands as a 12-year-old kid, and I saw some things. You are giving a lot of mental maturity to a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kid.
I don't think that the journey all was within 1 year. I think that's preposterous to think that he trained 3 Pokemon to their adult forms six Pokemon to their, at least 6 Pokemon, probably more, to their adult forms, beat 8 gym leaders, traveled across the entire region on foot, did all those things, like caught Mewtwo. That didn't happen within 1 year. I understand that
he had a bike, so yeah, it kind of did.
It's a game. He had running shoes.
He was good
because it's a game and it's a simplistic narrative.
Right. There's no. I mean, putting a time frame on it would put a lot of constraints that a player, particularly myself, may not want to deal with. So I believe it was a very intelligent choice by them not to throw it in there. But it does open the question of how long did it take?
Regardless, you may not agree with me about Red, but that connects with this idea that the gym leaders are becoming more, and the league more of a responsible.
Right. No, I'm not contesting that. I don't know if it was Red who made that call or if it was the administration of the league in general. It's like, look, some kid who started out a few years back, he's not an adult or anything, came through and has a lot that he has to say about how we've been handling our stuff. Maybe we do need to take a step back and reorganize it. And I would not be at all shocked if it was Lance who sat there and said, okay, maybe some things need to change. Does anybody want out? Let's bring in some fresh blood. And it's entirely possible. The reason I tie it to Lance is if you remember Olivine City, then you go to Cianwood, you fight Chuck, you go back to Olivine City, you take down Jasmine after, giving the medicine. She's like, all right, cool, now a battle, being all socially responsible and stuff. Then you move across what would have been Mahogany Town to the eastern route. And there you run into the Red Gyarados. That conundrum. And who meets you there?
Yeah. Well, that makes sense because Red stepped down as champion and went into reclusivity. Yeah, seclusion. A much more accessible word than reclusivity. Reclusivity may not be a word, but now it is. You're welcome.
It is now. 5 stars. Subscribe.
You're welcome, English lexicon. But Red stepped down because, you know what? I think he saw how much society was progressing, and he's like, I'm a fucking kid, and you know what? I'm a Pokemon trainer. I'm gonna go train my Pokemon. This isn't my job.
Not only that,
Lance was like, "Word, this is my job. Can I take back? Can I be champion? Can I be champion? Yo,
I'm gonna be champion. Bye, kid.
So that's it. Red put fucking Koga in the Elite Four. He replaced Agatha with Koga because Agatha has a beef with Red's original trainer and teacher, Professor Oak.
Weren't they like lovers or something?
There was a divide. They split up. They were never necessarily lovers. They may have been. It's never stated directly, but they split up. There was a divide. She didn't agree with the way he did things. He didn't agree with the way she did things. Science and power. That's all she's obsessed with is power. And conquering. And she calls him an old coot who wastes all this time in his lab fiddling with his Pokedex and his inventions. I really think he said, Agatha, you're out. Koga, you're in.
I don't. Okay, so why are you stuck on? And I'm just going to round out the arc.
Well, what I was saying is Lance probably put Will in. So Lance, because there wasn't another space free until Red stepped down and Lance took Red's position. Now there's a place free. Oh, but Lorelai's gone too.
Yeah,
you're right.
Lance kept his job.
Yeah, but Lance is the champion, isn't he? And
he was the last of the elite. I think he was like the fourth. Was he the fourth or fifth Elite Four?
In Johto, he's the champion, isn't he?
Yeah. No, Blue is.
No, Blue's a gym leader in Kanto.
In GS, but in
that's what I'm talking about. In Gold and Silver. But that is the league for both Kanto and Johto. So 3 years after Red and Blue,
GS.
In Gold and Silver.
Lance steps up to champion.
And then we've got Bruno.
No, you have Will. Then
Will, Koga, and...
Come on. Go waggle your fingers. It ain't going to make it come to you any faster.
Do you know?
Not off the top of my head.
I was like, don't taunt me. Like, just help me out here. 1 star, back to 1 star. You guys don't know shit. How dare you run a Pokemon podcast? No, Agatha's not in it anymore. Thank you, though.
Just Google GS Elite Four.
All right, I'm going to look it up.
Because that's what we do when we don't know an answer. We find it.
I don't like looking up things during the podcast. It's just something
and you
about.
Can cut this whole conversation out.
No, I mean I do my research and then.
So who do we have? Who's Elite Four number 4? I'm gonna feel so dumb when I hear it. I'm just ready.
All right, Indigo Elite Four. We've got Will, Koga, Bruno, and Karen, the Dark type leader.
Karen. So there's another spot. Damn it, Karen.
Okay, so. Somebody put Karen in there. Someone put a Dark type in there.
Why do I not remember her? Literally,
it's possible that then Lance was like, there was a reason I had Agatha on the team. I respect Red's decision, but we need to fill a hole. And he filled the hole with a Dark type trainer.
What was his reason?
I don't know, but because his reasoning would be something to do with the fact of the balance of, oh, damn it, Bulbapedia and your fucking ads.
Don't use Bulbapedia.
For real, I've started going to Bulbapedia with the Internet Wayback Machine. I'm not even lying, dude, because it doesn't freeze up my computer. If I use the Internet Wayback Machine and just look up the Bulbapedia page from a month ago.
That's terrible.
It works. Fuck you, Bulbapedia. Fucking Wikipedia doesn't freeze my goddamn computer.
It's advertising money for you. Okay, so... I mean, I want to bring it back to
balance. The light side and the dark side should be balanced. It shouldn't be like ascetic saints versus debaucherous criminals and villains. It's a balance of your shadow and your light.
Mm-hmm. So you think Agatha was there to kind of bring light to the dark side?
Well, perhaps like Lance was when Red left, and he's like, word, like Red still has a lot journeying to go through. Lance is older. He's a dragon type trainer. He's very familiar with his shadow. By that, I mean like the Freudian, like in psychotherapy when they talk about like your shadow, you know, like
your lesser half,
the
your
darkness inside you and in humanity. That like there is a dark aspect. There is the yin and yang of the world. Like,
okay.
And him recognizing someone who is in tune with that in a responsible way. Not just someone who, not fucking Hitler, like not like a
man, you
monster.
Really hate Agatha.
No, I'm not comparing Agatha to Hitler. I'm saying someone who's in tune with their dark side, not in a
Send
monstrous
us the fan art.
not in a monstrous way, but in a way that allows them to be a healthy person.
Well, no. I mean, you look at Agatha, and I guess I could see what you're saying when it comes down to, you know, she only wanted power, blah blah blah. Knowledge is not as important as power.
Well,
and
I'm also just throwing out ideas that are filling in the gaps of, you know, like the smallest leaps I can make to fit this all together.
Saying Lance did it all, I don't know if that's a small.
Well, I'm
leap.
not going to die on that hill. That's why I'm saying I don't want to get too hung up on like the specific details, and more like I'm rounding out this general idea of what happened.
I can see where you're getting at the yin and the yang side of it. Like I can. I can't remember Koga. I'm not sold on the fact that, I mean, I don't know if it's canon. I don't know how the journey went, but it would make sense because Psychic is a very overpowering type. To walk down to Koga and to deal with mostly poison, which is something that's not good against Psychic to begin with. The bug, I think, is kind of a stretch, but I could see why Koga, being in the position that he's in, not gym leader, but ninja. There is a very, very strict amount of discipline that goes into that. So it is entirely possible Koga's like, you were in Saffron before you came here, weren't you? He probably gets that a lot, and he's probably dealt with it.
So, I mean, to bring it back to Jasmine, though, I think Jasmine does relate a lot to this idea. So, first of all, we're going into Gen 2, right? Gen 2 is the sequel to Pokemon. It was originally going to be called Pocket Monsters 2, before they decided to call it Gold and Silver version and maybe milk this cow a little bit more.
I mean, little did they know.
Oh, they knew it. They knew. That's why it went from 97 to 99. They were like, yeah, we need 2 more years.
We need a couple years to grab the tit just a little bit harder.
Well, you saw the whole beta Gold and Silver thing, right? Like
I saw some of the leaks, yeah.
They realized what they were doing, and they're like, yeah, we got to completely redesign this game. This isn't going to be the last Pokemon game. So there's 2 new types introduced in Gen 2, Steel type and Dark type. Now, when these were originally introduced, it was said that they were newly discovered Pokemon types. Although nowadays in the remakes, they don't just downplay it, they completely eradicate that aspect from the story. And they're like, no, they've always been there. No one says anything about them being newly discovered, nor about the 100 new species of Pokemon being newly discovered.
Well, Oak didn't factor them into the Pokedex, that's all it is.
I kind of like the idea that maybe Steel type and Dark type hadn't been discovered yet, even in Johto maybe. Sure, they had Umbreons, but it was just classified as a poison type or something. And then, because this is how science works, and then somebody goes, wait a minute.
That's not poison.
It uses a lot of poison type moves, but there's another type of energy in play here, which it's using. And I think this Murkrow thing uses the same. Haven't you noticed that Murkrow doesn't just use flying moves, guys? You know what I mean? Like, and going into doing this research and being like, there is a whole nother type of Pokemon. These Pokemon all belong.
We're going to call it ninja type. And Koga's like, no, shut the hell up.
Well, it's like before we realized what fungus were, you know, mushrooms were probably just considered a plant. You know what I mean?
Right, even though they're closer to an animal than a plant. But
yeah, now we have a whole nother categorization of life.
Right. But yeah, I could see a kid, it's just another plant.
Sort of like how before your mom realized what Digimon was, she just thought Metal Greymon was one of those Pokemans.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh God, now I gotta buy all these things too?
Yep.
Psycho War Skelemetal Greymon? All right.
I don't know about this.
Can you go back to Pokemon?
Psycho War.
Cyndaquil!
I'm not sticking around if you keep saying that.
So it's Steel and Dark. I really like this. I feel like my introduction to them was through the TCG because I was buying the Japanese cards.
I'm sorry.
Trying to get a look at these new Pokemon that, you couldn't find on the internet. So like I didn't play the TCG. I'm saying I would buy the imported cards.
I'm sorry that
Why?
was your first experience.
Because I knew about it before you, which I definitely did, Phil, because there's not a doubt in my mind that I was the one who told you about Steel and Dark type.
I don't know. I don't remember way back then, but if you were buying cards, if you were importing cards in, it doesn't surprise me if you were.
Well, they did at Altered States at the comic shop here in Syracuse that used to exist.
They still have that label on their door?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It was
That's what I
there
thought.
throughout all the time. They were just a closed, empty location, and then the same people came and bought it back. So, Gen 2 is the adventure that's after Red's adventure, after the big prodigal adventure that changed the world.
Uh-huh.
And the world has been truly revolutionized technologically and socially.
Uh-huh.
Later generations, people act like they've always known about Steel type and Dark type, just like we kind of act like the world's always been the way it is now, And in the early generations, it was like it was newly discovered.
I mean, I can solve this for you very simply.
Hold on.
Nobody likes hipsters.
What I'm saying is the transition from Gen 1 to Gen 2 is sort of like human history's transition into the Iron Age. And Gen 2 is sort of like the metal generation, gold and silver. It's referred to as the generation where it's metal, gold, silver, crystal.
Right.
Like, I guess
mineral.
Crystal's not a metal, is it? But
Uh-huh.
That is, and when you also apply that to the Steel type microcosm, macrocosm, the Steel type gym leader she seems very inexperienced, unsure of herself. Meltan, the Flesh. He's super strong and super naked. Nathan needs his thinking wound back up.
Yeah, there's that.
I don't know, like, Steel is a newly discovered type.
So is Dark by that notation.
Steel was a newly discovered element that revolutionized Japan. It is considered an element in Japanese, like folklore, sort of alongside like fire, water, wind, and earth. Steel is also, it just so happens to be the most common like gained type in evolution. So like when a Pokemon evolves and gains a new type it didn't have before, Steel is the most common type that fills that role.
Well, they had to shoehorn it in more places.
But I'm saying this all tends to make sense because Steel is something that's derived from Earth. You know what I mean? That you evolve it, you metamorphose it to Steel. Jasmine lives in the city where you go after you beat the game in order to travel to the new game that you're going to beat. Kanto, Olivine is also the city that Brendan and May moved to Hoenn from.
Brendan and May are
Hoenn, the main red and blue of Hoenn.
They moved to Olivine after the adventure?
No, they moved from Olivine to Hoenn.
Well, it's a coastal town, so I can see
No, but
that.
I'm just saying there's so much things about moving from one state and transitioning to another state. Also, this might be kind of a reach, but like Jasmine, like we said, seems to have like a fondness for electric type Pokemon. So the two cities that you can go to from
Vermilion and Olivine.
Are Vermilion and
Olivine.
No. The two cities you can go to from Olivine, or rather, you can go to Vermilion. And where does Jasmine go? She goes to
Sunnyshore and
Sunny Shore, where Volkner is. Volkner, Lieutenant Surge, electric type gym leaders. The Iron Age leads into the Industrial Age. Society is revolutionized, and suddenly it's a big deal whether or not we are responsible with our technological and social advances.
Interesting.
She seems to be very green in the sense of like she's not sure of herself. She immediately offers to step down when she's beaten in the tournament as gym leader and make you the new gym leader. I think she just inherited this gym from someone.
It's an interesting concept.
The gym it looks just like Brock's gym. It's a rock type gym. The badge looks just like Brock's badge. Just it's more smooth. There's no edges. It's completely smoothed out.
Would you say refined?
It's refined. I really like the idea that she just inherited this gym that used to be a rock type gym. They also said that she used to train rock type Pokemon.
Right.
And wouldn't it be kind of dumb to set up a rock-type gym in a port town where people can catch water-type Pokemon? You think you'd last very long there? I think it's no wonder they're gone. It's she inherited it, and it's symbolic of
a transition.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
Sorry, I feel like I'm Charlie in that Always Sunny meme where he's like pointing at the threads, connecting the different, when you like pin all the threads and the sticky notes around your room,
and
you're like,
trying
I got it all figured out, man.
And you're trying to figure out how they're connected. You use a lot more twine that way.
Yeah. God, Alex Jones must spend a fortune on twine and thumbtacks.
Well, it's more yarn, but you get the idea, yeah. It's an interesting theory to throw out there. A rock gym in Olivine, okay. How did her Onix get to be a Steelix? I mean, afterwards you can trade her to get a Steelix named Rusty, but it does kind of ask the question, how did her Onix get a metal coat? Was it also traded to her by the old gym leader?
That's the Onix that she uses in contests.
Yeah,
she competes in contests and
she trades you it.
Rusty, but it's not the Onix she uses in battles.
Steelix.
They are two different, the Steelix, I'm sorry.
Right.
They're two different genders.
So, well, what I think largely happened, and again, if we're running with the it's inherited, was her brother's Steelix. Or it was her brother's Onix. And the metal coat was on there, and it traded, and it evolved into a Steelix. And he's like, all right, whatever, I already stepped down, I can't do anything. And she's like, okay, well, I guess I'll do it.
No. Put yourself in my shoes, being sitting there formulating this conception of Olivine and Gen 2 and Jasmine and Steel types, and then seeing that fan theory proposing that Bruno was her father and being like, oh my God, that would be perfect. But they don't really have any evidence. So
no, plus Bruno's fighting.
Yep. Maybe I just have apophenia.
It's entirely possible, even though I don't know what that is. 1 star. Unsubscribe.
Yeah, because you don't have knowledge of the fucking...
Yes, because I don't know anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I maybe I'm just crazy, but I find it very interesting.
I mean, with a medium like this that's not fleshed out, the developers have given us free rein to play around and use our imagination, as we should. It's interesting that they left so many doors open, even ones they may not have intended to, but it's a fun shift to be able to sit there and theorize and speculate.
We didn't talk about Jasmine's team, which I think is the most important, the most relevant.
The fact that it's more steel than anything else, and then there's a very strong hint of electric because of those Magnemites.
Sure. I just mean, in general, the Pokemon that a gym leader has is part of their identity. It literally is. Their auras are conjoined.
She keeps the lights on with the Magnemites. All right, we solved it. Next song.
There may or may not be a lot to discuss, but I feel like Jasmine's MVPs definitely deserve a name drop, right?
Steelix.
So she's got the male Steelix named Rusty. She's got the female Steelix. 2 Magnemites, a Magnezone, a Metagross, a Skarmory, Bronzong, Empoleon, Fortress, Mawile, Lucario, Klinklang, Ferrothorn, and Excadrill.
You're talking like in the tournaments and stuff like that.
Sure. Those are all game canon Pokemon that she has. Now, in the TCG, she has the Raichu, Electabuzz, and Jolteon. In the manga, she has a male and a female Togetic, and they actually lay an egg that they give to Gold. So Gold's Togepi was...
Wow, okay.
I don't know why they give her... I mean, hey, 2 Pokemon that would later become another newly discovered type. Fairy type, yeah.
Could be.
And in Pokemon Stadium 2, she has a Corsola, Magneton, Mantine, Stantler, Blastoise, Slowbro, Rapidash, and Scizor.
Not a lot of steel.
No, well, she has a bunch of other Pokemon, too. Those are the ones that are unique to Stadium 2 that she has, that she doesn't have in other canons.
Right.
People's teams sure are a lot of fun to talk about, aren't they, Phil?
I guess if there's a tying together thread, yeah.
If they're relevant, like a gym leader, if I have some reason to give a shit about them.
Well,
Phil
not even
says.
that. Like, there's a lot of gym leaders whose teams I give no shits about, like Brock and Misty. All right, Onix and Starmie. Let's keep it moving. Like, there's not a whole lot else out there.
Well, no, they do. They have more Pokemon once you get to the
Right, once you get their
rematches.
number and you call them and I know all that stuff. But for most people's playthrough and the people who don't sit there and squeeze everything they can out of the game, that's generally what you're looking at is a couple Magnemites, a Steelix, and that's it.
Yeah, but I think that's representative of their star players. That's their iconic,
I guess.
Like partners. Yeah,
I guess.
I think so.
We're not going to talk about another team, are we?
I was going to try to transition us here, if you will, from one state to another.
Oh, jeez.
We are now going to move into the new Sometimes segment of Silph Radio, where we look at our listeners' teams.
And judge them, because that's what we do.
That's what Phil does.
That's what I do. Your team sucks. I mean, I'm going to reserve that for after I hear what they are.
Thank you to everyone who's been sending in your teams. As you've probably been made very aware, it's been tough keeping episodes coming out. I've had a lot on my plate. So there's a lot of you that have been waiting a long time to hear your team get its 15 minutes in the Indigo Hall of Fame.
15 seconds. It's trash.
Phil's like,
Next.
I got to get moving.
I have words to say. None of them are nice.
So, hey, Darren, if you're still listening, you've been waiting all the way since fucking May. You sent me your team, and sorry it took me so long to get to it, but let's do this. For those of you who don't listen to every episode and aren't aware, we've been asking our listeners to send in their Pokemon teams. We're not just Jesse and James wearing mustaches. We mean in a more intangible way. Send us a message telling us about who your favorite team on the game that you play with is, or in your head canon when you are trying to fall asleep at night, or, just taking a shower or stuck at work, imagining that you live in the illustrious, wonderful world of Pokemon and not this mundane, soul-sucking reality. What Pokemon do you imagine yourself having? Now, keep in mind, if you send us in your team and there's a legendary on it, I used to say I'm not going to read your fucking team. Now I say I will, and I will mercilessly, ruthlessly mock you. Prepare for whatever comes your way if you send in a fucking team with a legendary on it.
So I think you said his name was Darren. Does Darren have a legendary? Because I need to come up with new words if they do.
I don't know. Let's find out, shall we?
Okay, let us.
Darren went about this a little bit of a different way. Not what Pokemon would he have were he to live in the Pokemon world, nor which Pokemon he uses in the games, but which Pokemon he would wish for if a magical genie appeared to him here in this world, in this life, and offered to give him and him only 6 unique Pokemon.
Huh. I mean, it's kind of bringing them into this world, but okay.
Yeah. Well, that's another way we look at it, is like, if you'd rather just wish for real-life Pokemon in this world.
There's only one that I would want. But let's hear.
I don't want to limit
Darren
people.
had
Whatever
to say.
you want, for all I care, send me your fucking deck. I probably won't read it, but...
I'll look at it and laugh and delete the email. That's about what it comes down to.
So Darren says... Now, some of these Pokemon aren't my favorite, but let's be real. I'd be happy with whatever Pokemon if they were real.
Oh, he's not wrong.
Yeah. If I had 6 Pokemon, I would want to live off the grid wherever I would like, and I would need a skilled team for that, so here it is. I like that.
He's practical.
If you had Pokemon, it would probably be pretty easy to live off the grid, except for the fact that they would attract a lot of attention.
Well, it depends on how far off the grid you go. Let's see what he's got in mind.
Male Sneasel named Catty would be my hunting partner, since ice is incredibly offensive, I would say, not offensive. Offensive carries more of a connotation like...
Smells like ass.
I never, or yeah. Since ice is incredibly offensive, I also wouldn't have to worry much about him, considering I'm sure he can fend off a bear easily enough. He also can double up as a food preservative, and can store my hunted food for longer with ice. That's fucking brilliant.
So who's doing the hunting, the Sneasel or you?
That's his hunting partner, so both of them together in tandem.
Yeah, okay.
It's his Pokemon. Their auras are intertwined.
Uh-huh. Next.
I love that. Not only is it helping him hunt, but it's preserving food.
No, it's clever. That's why I'm not tearing into it like I normally would. You get a pass on that one, Darren. What else you got?
I like that. Female Lapras named Summer because, let's be honest, how awesome would it be to just lounge around on a floating Nessie? I would use Lapras to go fishing, or even she could catch fish or bigger things for me. She's also a means for transportation among water. Also, rain dance for pure water.
All right, that's fair. A little cliche going with a Lapras, but, it's fair. I mean, it's clever. Now, do you have something to store that water in?
Dude, nothing about this is cliche. Like, he put so much thought into this. Like, no one has put this type of thought into this. I'm not saying no one has put this much thought into it. We've gotten a lot of really thoughtful, well-constructed answers.
The female Lapras part is cliche to me.
Looking at this as how are these Pokemon going to serve me living off the grid, which is pretty much what a Pokemon trainer does in universe, even if they're on a journey, And I really like that. Like, that's something
I would be concerned about weather patterns for everyone nearby, but it's not a bad idea.
If you
need clean water.
I don't know why he also has 2 ice types. That seems like a little bit of a disadvantage.
He's doing a lot of preserving of food.
But that's the thing. Like, if you're a Pokemon trainer and you have an ice type on your team, you might be able to be like, hey, I'm going to bring a few loaves of bread with me.
Well, where's Darren
rather
from?
than have to stop and buy new bread in every town. I like the bread from Celadon.
Where is Darren from? Is he from the Northwest?
I don't know, but I don't think it's my place to
ask.
Yeah.
All right, Darren, let us know where
BC,
you're from.
British Columbia.
Oh, BC? Okay, he's trying to stop forest fires.
So,
if any kind of fire breaks out, he's got a Lapras to beam it and a Sneasel to dump the powder on it. He's probably trying to make sure that wherever he's staying doesn't go up in flames. Does he have a fire type? Actually, Darren, what else do you have?
What are you trying to do off the grid up there in British Columbia, Darren?
We'll find out. You got any grass types?
Next, we've got a male shiny Conkeldurr.
It's shiny? Lame.
Why is that lame?
Because it's shiny. Ooh, it's shiny. Everyone wants a shiny. Get that out of here.
Dude, shinies are cool.
All right, so Conkeldurr, what are you going to build with
I'm
them?
trying to look up what a shiny Conkeldurr looks like.
It's as ugly as a regular one, just with a palette swap.
Yeah, I know. Do you know what the palette swap is?
Ugly.
No? What?
Ugly version 2.
You don't know what color it is, so don't talk down to me.
Ugly version 2.
I'm going to see. Let's see. A shiny Conkeldurr has... It's got like a slightly more orange palette to it. I like it. Very citric.
So ugly version 2.
I'm not that into Conkeldurr, I'll be honest. But
all right, so what's he do? Why is he there?
I have no problems with it. Male shiny Conkeldurr named Bill. Not my favorite, but incredibly skilled at what he does. Could build me shelter and move big obstacles out of my way. And if Sneasel isn't around, then he can fuck up bears or cougars. Yeah, that's great. Also, I don't have any problems with people having shinies. That is not the same as having a legendary. Do not be nervous about sending a shiny in on your team unless
if you send a shiny in, you're a bitch.
Unless Phil's going to be on the episode when we read it.
I want to be here for all of them.
Don't say bitch.
Asshole. No, I believe, from my perspective, there are better choices for shelter. Also, why would your Sneasel not be around?
Who's he gonna choose? A fucking Slowbro? Climb into the fucking cloister when it rains? Conkeldurr
works with... Conkeldurr's built around concrete. Girder... No, there was one in there that used a tree or something and did just fine.
Do you think Conkeldurr loses the ability to engage in carpentry?
He's generally more skilled with swinging concrete pillars around. Since there are none of those out there, I
think it's evolved to the level where it can use the rock and
most
ground.
Comfortable doing that.
It can use the rock and ground type energy around it to form concrete.
Timber.
It couldn't do that before. Now it can still take trees and make them into a shelter.
I think that's its name is Tinder. I don't know. I feel like there's a grass type out there that could do it better. That's just me, though. I mean, it's a solid choice. Yeah, he could screw up a cougar or a bear if it came near you, but... And again, I don't know why any of that would be near you. That would have been the first thing you got for food. But
well, he's exploring the world because he can.
I thought he was just off the grid. He didn't say exploring.
It sounds like he is.
I don't know. Let's see what the rest of the team has.
He needs something to transport him across water, something to build him shelters. Sounds like he's living a nomadic lifestyle.
He's fishing. And he's got to collect that rainwater still. I haven't seen him collect the rainwater in anything yet.
He had to. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot to mention that you have to send in what type of dishes you own.
Well, yeah. If you're eating out of a barrel, you're going to get less.
Plot hole. How did he keep the rainwater if he doesn't have a bottle?
Not a bottle.
Plot hole much? And look, just because we weren't given that information does not make it a plot hole.
Whatever.
He probably owns a canteen.
Really? Canteen? Really?
At the very least.
The judging. The sheer amount of judging.
Female chandelure named Vivid.
Well, hold on. Why female?
Why not? Why do you have to question it? Gamergate much?
Fuck you. Also, keep going.
Yeah, geez, what are you trying to appeal to SJWs with your team here? You've got 2 females on your team, clearly pandering to the liberal snowflake cuck fan base.
Aging liberal hippie douche.
Yeah, you are from British Columbia.
I am curious as to why people choose male.
I
or
have a female
something.
chandelure on my team. What's your beef? Their name's Gabriella.
You couldn't find a good ghost type in the first gen? What kind of fucking Gen 1 are you? Fuck out of here.
I came from Pokemon Tower, as we learned last episode, if you listened.
You?
I could find a good ghost type. I didn't.
So you got stuck with the Chandelure.
No,
you know
I didn't
what?
want.
You're
I had no
absolutely
interest in it. I formed a bond with a Chandelure.
Haunter's
Phil.
better. Although Chandelure does provide light and other cool stuff, but Haunter's better.
A lot of Pokemon came and went from my team. Chandelure has stayed on my team since she came into my team. It was X and Y, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Since she no, it was Black and White. I'm sorry, it wasn't X and Y. It was
it Black and White?
Yeah, I didn't finish X and Y. It was Black and White was the last big adventure my trainer went on.
Huh.
And they have had the Chandelure on their team since then. There have been other Pokemon that have came and left, and my trainer just has a bond with the Chandelure because that's what good Pokemon trainers do. They form bonds with their Pokemon, Phil.
You saying I'm not good?
Female Chandelure named Vivid, which is a fucking fantastic name for a Chandelure. She would be my light in the night, the brightest star for me. Yeah, see, he's got a bond with his Chandelure too. Also producing my warmth and fire to cook my food.
If you like soul incinerating fire.
I was wondering how Phil was going to respond.
It took me a second.
You can cook. It incinerates souls, not food. It's not going to burn his rice balls or donuts, as we call them in the West.
Whatever the hell he's having. I mean, from a functional perspective, everything has a spot. I was expecting someone to be like, "Oh, Alakazam because it's smart," because that's just easy to pick on.
Oh, I love Alakazam though. Alakazam would be a great Pokemon to have on your team.
But why though?
Because it's awesome.
Right, not just because it's smart and because it's strong. That's the stuff that's easy to pick on. He's actually got functional perspective into
really
these
like
choices.
that.
Again, he said these are not necessarily my favorites, particularly Conkeldurr, but it has a purpose. So, okay, all right, he's 4 for 4 so far on not being a total ass choice.
Male Venusaur named Rotom.
He was 4 for 5.
I like Venusaur. He would be my good cultivator, help me produce all my greens and whatnot.
Greens, huh?
Also aid in the building of stuff I'll need. Mix his sunny day with summer's rain dance, and I'll have all the fresh produce. The inflection was my own.
I'm just...
What?
Why Venusaur?
Why not Venusaur? Because he likes Venusaur.
Well, I would assume so. It made it to his top 6, but why?
Venusaur is awesome. It's one of the most popular Pokemon. It is. Every time they do the poll, Venusaur is on the list.
Real talk?
Yeah. Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard are always on the list
because they're fucking Gen 1 and Gen 1 is the best.
Well, because there's so many people's first Pokemon. What is that not a valid reason for a Pokemon to become your favorite?
Nope. Can't be Venusaur.
Phil is the arbiter of validity.
Yes, whatever I say goes. Venusaur can't have him. Too bad.
Sounds like a magic card.
Genie said fuck off. Actually, Arbiter of... Yeah, okay.
Arbiter of validity.
It would be blue, and Andre would know how to play it.
I want to know what... It would be blue. And it would just be a picture of, you know how they like, sometimes they'll paint like the tournament winners into the cards.
Yeah.
They would paint Andre. Andre should have been painted into a card by now anyway. If you're listening and you don't know who Andre is, oh, hey, you must be my British Columbian fan base. Because everyone knows Andre.
Dick move. Also, yes.
No, everybody in Syracuse knows Andre. It's a running joke that most people listening don't get. We're going to get him on a podcast one of these days.
One of these days. If
I want to know.
Time out from everybody knowing him.
No, don't just send me your Pokemon teams. If you play Magic, I want to know what you think Arbiter of Validity would do. What would it be? Would it be an artifact? Would it be
it's
a creature?
Clearly a counter spell.
Would it be a planeswalker?
Well, no, it's a creature that can tap and counterspell just by tapping it.
Or if it's a planeswalker, it could be Phil, Arbiter of Validity. Like Phil, Arbiter of Validity.
Now I want to get back into Magic and draft. You know what? No, I don't. Venusaur, I don't particularly care for that choice. I feel, again, much like Conkeldurr, there are better alternatives. I can't think of any right now, but that's just me being an asshole. I mean, I guess, the Sunny Day, you could have done it on a fire type. I mean, you could have had Chandelure could have covered that, but it's your call, I suppose.
Well, Darren's prepared to win you back, Phil.
Really?
And finally, Yveltal named False, because who doesn't want a giant doom bird that will fly you wherever you want? Yo, you were so close, Darren. You were so close. I'm not going to fight Phil on this one, Darren. I'm sorry, Phil. The stage is yours.
All right, I need a minute. Fucking Yveltal. You didn't even tell me he was on.
I didn't know. I don't read them until we're on air. That's the policy. He adds in a further message, not to mention, huge fan of Breath of Fire series, especially number 4, and Yveltal looks like Folu's Astral, which looks like if Yveltal and Amaterasu from Okami had a baby.
Gonna put that out of my mind for right now because I've got to focus on the fact that you...
Gonna save that one for later.
No. You, Mr. Off the Grid, Mr. Draw No Attention to Myself, Mr. Take Care of My Own Shit, has to get a, what did you call it, flying death bird that will fly you anywhere.
Get him!
Do you have any fucking idea what that creature is capable of? Do you have any idea the amount of attention you're going to draw to yourself the very second that thing is released?
Get him!
You fucking don't. You poser ass, piece of shit, unoriginal, garbage motherfucker.
Dude, come on. I said I was going to ridicule them, not personally insult them.
You're right. That's beneath.
Feels like you made no claims about what I would do.
I'm thinking that, but I didn't say it. I will... No, I'm not going to tame it up. That's a garbage choice. Like, from a functional perspective, okay, like I've given you a pass on 4 out of 6 already. Even though I didn't want to give it to you on Conkeldurr, I'm not giving it to you on a legendary. A, it's a legendary. You're garbage for picking it. 2, I don't know how it works, but I'm pretty sure it's a passive thing where it siphons life away. So if you enjoy having your Pokemon and possibly people and other living things around you, I'm going to have to redo that, aren't I?
Nope, fuck it. Let's keep it rolling.
Okay, that is going to siphon the energy away from them. Not to mention, Pokemon are sentient beings, right? You get that, right? So they have mood swings, right? Right, you get that, right? So what's going to happen when you piss this thing off? Nothing. That's much what you're going to be feeling when it goes into chaos mode. Also, the very second you leave the skyline, someone is going to see that. And you know who's going to be interested in a deathbird? The government. And I don't need to spell out for you what's going to happen the minute you get sighted. Well, they're not going to find
all
me.
Right.
Really?
So apparently all I need to do now is I just got to have Jeremy come back on the show to defend your honor, Darren, because Jeremy I'm sure would love to counter Phil and be like, actually, let me serve as the contrarian to
the second arbiter of validity?
Jeremy's the contrarian to Phil's contrarian, basically.
I'm a contrarian now? I'll take it.
Phil, you've always been a contrarian.
I have not. Woo!
And we've only had them on 1 or 2 episodes together, but Jeremy is very much the contrarian to Phil's contrarian, and it's gonna be one hell of a moment if we can get him back in the secret room.
If
to defend our listeners' honor, because Phil, come on, man, these people don't actually pay my bills, but I'm trying to get these people to pay my bills, Phil.
Well, maybe you should get better bill payers. Not Mr. I'm going to run around in the wild of nature with no monies.
Yeah, maybe I should move to Canada. Maybe I should move to British Columbia.
There are a myriad of reasons to do that. But, I don't know if Mr. I'm going to live off the grid and run a flying death bird. Flying death bird! I can't even.
And that's about that.
Thank you for coming.
There's a lot going on at our home base, secretroommultimedia.com. I really hope you guys take a moment to visit. It's still it's not frequently updated as of now, as of this recording, because guys, I'm telling you, it's really hard keeping up with all this. So I really appreciate any way that you can help us out by liking the Facebook page, subscribing to the Twitter or the YouTubes. It really, really helps. Please look up Silph Radio on YouTube. Check out our other podcast. Check out our comics. It's all available at secretroommultimedia.com. There's lots to discover and lots to enjoy.
And now a word from our not really sponsor. Do you like hearing what we have to say? Then listen to us. And then don't listen to us. If you're tired of hearing it, just let it play in the background. It still counts as a listen. Thank you.
And if you enjoy the podcast, I would really, really appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes. If you can't do iTunes, just wherever you get it. If there's a way to review it and leave a rating, that would be great. Even if you don't leave a review would be great, but a rating, that'd be great too. There's I don't know, I guess it's because the nature of the jokes I make, and I'm opening myself up for criticism. But, there's the people that throw 1 and 2 star ratings at us for whatever their reasoning is, that drags down our average, and it makes it harder for people to find it. And the more people find it, the more likely it is that I can set myself up with a consistent schedule to release consistent episodes frequently.
Not only that, Deathbird Boy aside, if you are going to throw us a 1 or a 2 star, tell us why. I mean, we kind of like doing this, and the only way for us to keep doing this successfully is to stay on the air. If we're doing something that you don't like, for example, not knowing our shit, which is a perfectly valid complaint, say something. We can't fix it if you don't tell us.
That said, though, you wouldn't give me a 1-star review for not being a Back to the Future podcast. So don't give me a 1-star review for not being the type of podcast that we're not. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Sounds like some shit a guy named Darren would do.
Dude, no. Darren loves us. He's been an incredibly supportive listener, as have so many other listeners out there. I really, really appreciate everyone that reaches out to us. There's so many on a regular basis. Shout outs to Matthew, shout outs to Emily, shout outs to Sam and Ray, and
shout outs to Darren. You're about to be a meme.
Shout outs to that one guy that sent us a message that was trying to figure out how to set up a Pokemon Go raid. And I was like, we're not that Silph Radio. We're the real Silph Radio.
Oh boy, that had to go well.
And not in the way the Ghostbusters meant it. We were the original.
Well, we got a lot of legal hurdles to jump for that one. But yes, we were here first. We're OG,
so
we're the best.
So do the people running a third-party Pokemon Go app.
They're in cahoots. So that is what it is.
No hard feelings. You guys have good taste in names. We'll just say that.
Yeah, we'll give it that.
From the secret room,
I'm Phil Cobb, and fucking Yveltal. I can't even. Fucking Yveltal, Desperate. I can't. Fuck that.
and I'm Nathan K. Goblin Nabob. Talk to you next time.